Hello friends, welcome for lecture number 7, right? As we have been discussing about the transformation of sentences, so here we are with the second part of the transformation, which completely deals with exclamatory, assertive, interrogative changes. And not to forget, but affirmative and negative change as well. So let's get started with lecture number 7, and here we go. So when it comes to exclamatory to assertive and vice versa change, we all have learned about the table that helps us to memorize the method and the steps to change either from assertive to exclamatory or the vice versa, that is from exclamatory to assertive. So here we are with the first change, that is assertive to exclamatory. I hope everybody remembers these are all the steps that we have been dealing with. That is, start the sentence with what and how, remove the adverbs of strong feelings, that is extremely, indeed, very, certainly. Then, whenever we start the sentence, we have to ensure that the subject and the verb are either written in the end when it comes to exclamatory, and we have to start the sentence with subject and verb when it comes to assertive. End the sentence with exclamatory when dealing with exclamatory sentences, while we have to end the sentence with full stop when it comes to assertive. And then we have the last change, that is, if we come across a sentence which has I wish or if only as a beginning, we interchange them without using what and how. Now, I'm giving you an easier trick to remember. When it comes to assertive to exclamatory change, there are two things that primarily you need to remember and that can help you to make this concept easier. And that is, always remember when it comes to assertive to exclamatory change, what or how are going to enter the sentence, while adverbs like extremely, certainly, indeed, and very are going to exit. If you keep this concept in mind, if you keep these two concepts in mind when it comes to assertive to exclamatory, certainly your entire concept of change will become easier. Let's, for instance, give it a try. So here we go with our first sentence, that is, Sher was indeed a heartwarming character. Now, this is an assertive sentence. Now, we know since we are changing from assertive to exclamatory, or in simple terms, since we are making it exclamatory, we know either what or how should enter the sentence, while adverbs are going to be removed or they will exit. So, here, since we have an article A given in the sentence, we are supposed to start the sentence with what, and out of any one adverbs which is given here, we are supposed to remove them. For example, indeed is going to be removed. In that case, the final answer becomes what a heartwarming character Sher was. And don't forget to put up the subject and the verb in the end, that is Sher was, while the exclamatory mark has to be given. Here we go with another statement, that is, these flowers are very beautiful. The same rule applies here, that is, since we are making exclamatory, what or how will enter while the adverbs will be removed or they will exit. For instance, because we don't have a or an article given in the question, we will start the sentence with how, and we are going to remove the adverb very. So in that case, the answer becomes how beautiful these flowers are. And don't forget to give the exclamatory sentence, exclamatory mark. Is that clear? So now we are moving on using the same formula, but with a slight change. And that is, this time we are going to change from exclamatory to assertive. So we are now going to change the pattern of what and how and adverb. So what and how will exit while the adverbs will enter. So here we have the same table given, except that there is a slight change in it, that this time we are going to start the sentence with subject and verb, while instead of exclamatory mark, we are going to put up full stop. So let's start with our first sentence. What a beautiful house it is. Now we can observe that the word what is given here because of the article a or a. This time we are changing it into assertive sentence. Hence, the what and how words will be taken out or they will exit, while the adverbs like extremely, certainly, indeed, and very will be entering the sentence. That is the answer. So here we have the final answer. That is, it was a very beautiful house. And then instead of exclamatory mark, we are supposed to put up full stop. Isn't it easy? Now in this case, I'm going to introduce one more. That is the third pattern of exclamatory to assertive change. That is, if only changes to I wish and I wish changes to if only. So here we have another statement coming up, that is, if only I could fly like an eagle. Now here we are not supposed to use what or how, or we don't need to remove any adverbs in this case. So in this case, this particular formula which we have kept on the right hand corner will be barred. So in this case, there is a very easy method, that is, if only changes to I wish or I wish that. So in this case, the answer becomes and the answer is, I wish that I could fly like an eagle. Now the same rule will apply when it comes to assertive to exclamatory change. That is, if I have I wish that I could fly like an eagle, it will be changing into if only I could fly like an eagle. Isn't it easier? Yes. So now we are going on with another change, that is interrogative to assertive and vice versa. Now, in this case, let's start with assertive to interrogative. That is, we have to convert a statement into a question. Now, many of us are confused that whether are we supposed to use a WH word or no. Well, even more easier method is to use a question tag. That means you can use the same question tag to start the question or to frame an interrogative sentence. Now, how does this work? Let's take a look. PUBG has gained a lot of popularity these days, which is no doubt the truth, isn't it? Now, we all know that whenever we apply any question tag to any sentence, we focus on the auxiliary verb or the helping verb. Now, here in this statement, we have two verbs, has and gained, out of which has is the helping verb and has is helping the main verb, that is gained. Now, in this case, has, which is an auxiliary verb, is going to be converted into a question tag. Now, the rule of question tag is very simple. If the statement is affirmative, question tag is negative. If the statement is negative, question tag will be affirmative. So in this case, has, which is an affirmative statement, is going to convert into a negative one, that is hasn't. Now, using the same question tag, we are going to frame an interrogative sentence, that is, hasn't PUBG gained a lot of popularity these days? And after that, we are going to put up a question mark. So isn't this easier to realize and understand how the interrogative change works here? All right, let's try another example. Now this time, let's work upon interrogative to assertive. In this case, we have two different types of questions, that is rhetorical question and real questions. Out of which, let's take a look at rhetorical question. Now, what is a rhetorical question called as? What does it mean? What is the definition of rhetorical question? So, rhetorical questions are the one which does not require any answer. Rather, the answers are understood by the listener. For example, in this case, will anybody forget those happy days spent here? Now, this case is a rhetorical one. Why? Because the answers are obvious. That is, nobody will forget those happy days spent here. Now, what have I done here is there are two things that I have swapped. That is, subject and auxiliary, that is helping verb, will be swapped against each other. That is, will and anybody will be swapped by with each other, that is, anybody will. But not to forget, we are supposed to change the affirmative sentence into negative. Hence, anybody will change to nobody. And that's why the final answer here is nobody will forget those happy days spent here. So this is the kind of rhetorical question that we deal with. Now let's get on to the real question. Now, real question has a different method than a rhetorical one. Here, there is one more, or rather, two more steps involved when it comes to change to assertive. That is, let's take an example here. That is, when was their latest album released? Now, in this case, when it comes to starting the assertive sentence, we are supposed to follow the given steps. So what is the given step? First step is you can use the given phrases like I want to know, or I would like to know, or I wonder, or I don't know. So out of these four, you can use any one phrase to start the assertive sentence. Post which, the second step is we have to figure out whether the given question is a WH question or a yes or no question. So what is the difference between yes or no or WH question? WH question contains a WH word, and in return, it also has a reply in a statement when asked. But when it comes to yes or no question, we do not have a WH word given in it, and even the answers are given in the form of yes or no. So in this case, we have a WH word. Hence, we are going to use the WH word which is provided to us, that is when. So after writing the phrase, for example, I want to know, we are supposed to write the word WH, that is when. And so the two parts will be I want to know when. Let's take a look at the third step. The third step is we are supposed to swap the subject and the helping verb. That is, was their latest album released will be swapped to their latest album was released, because their latest album is a subject and was is a helping verb or auxiliary. So here we have the final answer, that is I want to know when their latest album was released. So if you follow these three simple steps, I am sure that you are going to learn how to change interrogative to assertive in the real questions. Moving on with the next one. Here we come with affirmative to negative change and vice versa. Now, my friends, please understand that when it comes to affirmative and negative, both the sentences are a type of assertive sentence. So assertive sentence is the main criteria under which we have two different types, that is affirmative and negative. And so here we are going to change from affirmative to negative. Now, what is an affirmative sentence? So any word without any negative word, for example, she dances well, is an affirmative sentence. While what is a negative sentence? So any negative sentence contains Words like no, not, none, never, nothing, neither, or nor. Whenever we have such words given in a sentence, it is known as a negative sentence. For example, they do not dance well. Now, when it comes to changing from affirmative to negative and vice versa, there are certain types that we can use in order to change it. So let's understand all these different types of methods in order to use or change from affirmative to negative and vice versa. So here we have the first change, that is change the degree. We can use the degree of comparisons to make the changes. So likewise, we have many other changes. For example, we can use not only but also, we can use no sooner than, we can use removal of if and unless method to change from affirmative to negative and vice versa. Then we can also use removal of to. We have learned all these methods in the lecture number 6. Now we are moving on with another types, that is opposite method. For example, I lost the key can be changed to I did not find the key. Now be very careful. When you change from affirmative to negative and vice versa, you are not supposed to change the meaning of any sentence. Hence, I have changed the opposite method, that is lost, changed to find. Here we have another one, that is prefix and suffix. That is, I disagree with you will change to I do not agree with you. Once again, negative word. Here we have another method, that is not allowed, can be changed to prohibited or forbidden, or forbidden or prohibited can be changed to not allowed. For example, she was forbidden to meet him. She was not allowed to meet him. Isn't it easier? Yes. So here we come with another method, that is never fails to, can be completely replaced with the only word, that is always. Here, my dear friends, please do not focus on any other word but always. Never try to change any other word from these three. That is, never fails to will only change to always, and do not try to change any other word from the sentence. Here we come with change number 10 or type number 10, that is no in place of without or without in place of no. And the 11th method can be none or nothing but can be replaced by only. So isn't it easier that out of these 11 methods, we can use any method in order to make a sentence negative or affirmative? Now it's time to go ahead with another type of concept, that is transitive and intransitive verbs. Generally, transitive and intransitive verbs fall under the main verb. So what is a transitive and intransitive verb? Let's go and understand with the help of a definition. When it comes to a transitive and intransitive verb, so we have to focus on the direct object and the indirect object. Are you still confused? Wait, I have a better method to make you learn this. We all have an idea that in any particular sentence, we have three different parts which are really important, and that is subject, verb, and object. Now, in this case, the object carries an importance when it comes to transitive and intransitive verbs, because they are going to help us identify the types. So now it's time to understand the definition. That is, what is a transitive verb? So transitive verb always has a direct object, while an intransitive verb does not have a direct object. So how do we find it? We all have learnt about finite verbs, that is a combination of subject plus verb. Now, we are supposed to ask the question what or whom only and only to subject plus verb in the any question or any statement. And if we get the object as an answer for the question what or whom, we consider it as a transitive verb. Else, it is an intransitive. For example, my brother moved to another city. In this case, my brother is the subject, moved is the verb, while another city is the object. In this case, as I said, we are only supposed to ask question what or whom to subject plus verb, that is my brother moved. So let's ask the question and check whether another city, which is an object, acts as an answer for the question or no. My brother moved what? Or my brother moved whom? Is it helping us to understand, or are we getting an answer as another city? No, that's why it is an intransitive verb. So how do we write an answer? Moved, which is a finite verb, hyphen intransitive verb. Isn't it easier? Let's move with another question. We clean our room every day. Now we know we is the subject, clean is the verb, and our room is the object, because our room पर action हो रहा है. So in this case, we are going to ask question what or whom to we plus clean, nothing else. So let's ask question, that is, we clean what? Are we getting an answer? Yes. What do we clean? We clean our room. So isn't it that our room is working as a direct answer for our question what or whom? Yes. That's why the word clean is a transitive verb. So isn't it easier for everybody to understand this concept with the help of these tricks which we have provided? Yes. So here we are stopping with part 1 of our lecture number 7. And now we are going to meet in another lecture, that is lecture number 7, part 2.